All right, chat. So, well, there is no chat yet, but about to start some stream. My pizza's in the oven as of now, so I'm about to go get that in a little bit. But I'm about to try to go to the next quest, see what I can do there. And while that's happening, I'm going to be no, for real. That chorus was fire. But yeah, oh, he just uploaded another video. Oh my gosh, I'm about to watch some Wizard 101 videos. You feel me? So that's what I'm gonna be doing. This man uploaded another video. Damn, this man getting it going. Okay, yeah. All right, so look, let me see. Boom, boom, boom. Well, that's the guide to weaving. But I'm gonna be watching these down here. Yeah, why not? Yeah, I'm gonna be watching some videos by Awesome the Sauce while I play the game, because you know that's how I play the game sometimes. While I play the game. Okay, yeah, but I'm just making sure you know the sound is right. No, that's how I play the game. That's how I play the game. You're so right. Who is this guy right here? Who's this guy? He's talking. Let's see. Mm.
Be advised, I'm watching Wizard 101 videos in the background.
Alright, but that should do it. I noticed that he always starts the video with y'all.
There is a deceptively small change
bet.
in the most recent Wizard 101 patch that is about to drastically change PvE in this game. And I've heard very few people even talking about this. I think very few people even know about this, but basically, right, the most recent end of January patch, it featured a combat review that affected a bunch of fights. I covered all the changes to the fights in a previous video. Y'all should check that out. But there's an even smaller thing in the patch notes that might affect the game even more, and that is this little tidbit right here. Balance Feint now stacks with regular
I gotta
feints.
check
Now,
on
y'all might be confused. And
gotta check on my pizza. All right, bet. I'm back. My pizza is out of the oven, and I'll go eat that whenever I can, whenever I have time. But for right now, I'm about to go crazy. I'm about to try to whoop as much ass in Grizzleheim as we can, you know what I mean? All right, let me play this video.
Blame you, because again, not a lot of people know that this exists, but just like there is a death feint that is very powerful, basically the most powerful buff in the game, a 70 trap that puts a 30 trap on yourself as a trade-off, there's also a balance feint that's existed in the game for years now. However, it's never worked as intended. This was introduced when Wiz revamped tier jewels, but in Wallaroo and also in Darkmoor, there's this thing called a feint citron. It is exactly what you would expect a feint citron to do. It's a feint, but it's balanced. And this is easily one of the most powerful PvE tools in the game, right? It's a 70 trap, and the trade-off is, of course, a 30 trap on self. That being said, this used to simply not work until the most recent patch. The game was treating this feint, even though it was an item card in balance, as the same as this card. And if y'all know about PvE, the name of the game is to stack feints if you want to do damage and the boss allows trap. Why is this such a big deal? For the first time, I would argue maybe ever, there is no reason anymore to do with tier jewels what people have traditionally done. Tier jewels have very historically been used as a way to get a little bit of extra health. This all changed when they added square jewels that instead of giving flat resist, gave insane amounts of health. This also happened in the Wallaroo update. But I think the vision of that change was to make it so that instead of having basically 145 health on that tier jewel, there's a valid alternative because you're getting even more health from your square jewel. So they added a bunch of these. However, the very, very powerful one, the Fate one, simply didn't work until now. Now, the PvE meta, in my opinion, is to craft a bunch of these so you constantly, whether you're in a solo setting or in a team setting, have ways to buff stack with Feint. There's a very unique buff. It'll stack with regular Feint, and it'll also save you dex space. Unlike a potent feint, where you need both a potent and a regular feint, and you need to enchant them to get a stackable with a regular feint trap, now you just have to affix one jewel, and you're good to go, right? This is a very, very big deal. You can make a 7-card deck with more powerful buffs. This is meta now. There are other ones that I actually don't mind, like Potent Trap, although why would you want Potent Trap when Jewel Feint exists now? Sharpened Blade, pretty decent if you can't use traps. That being said, if you want the most powerful stackable buff with the least deck space, this is the new meta. People need to be using this all over the place, in my opinion. If y'all want to craft this, you do need to fight Velour 5 times. He can also just naturally drop this, but basically, this is the badge that you're going to want. The one that you get for defeating the final boss 5 times, the Bane of Evil. Now, while hopefully this video serves as just an easy way for you to really boost your damage output in PvE, if you didn't know about this existing and about the most recent patch, I also wanted to talk about the current state of tier jewels in general, especially following the big change that happened all the way back in Wallaroo. I feel like it's very, very underwhelming. This is the first time we've even had a reason to actually think about the health trade-off, and it's not like health is useless. When you're talking about all the tier jewels you could affix, let's say you had 155, the best value for tier jewels. If you have a wand and a theme and a ring that all give a tier jewel, you're really thinking about trading off over 500 health for item cards. Are these item cards that you can get from tier jewels good enough? Is this actually working as a system? For a change that literally happened years and years ago when Wallaroo came out, I feel like there aren't really that many good things that you could affix onto your tier jewel. While yes, this change is massive, I want way more options that are as good as Feint so that we can actually see some diversity in PvE in the form of essentially what are customizable item cards, right? There's a very, very good idea that has very bad execution, and there's a lot of ways that I think they could start with this. One of them is in the Blended Grove. This is another thing that I'm not sure a lot of people know about, but if you get all the way up on your weaving in certain schools, you can actually unlock the ability to craft certain item card tier jewels from some of the trees. This isn't fully done yet. I'm assuming as there's more.
As a matter of fact, I'm gonna be muted for a little bit for the duration of this fight. So you know, yeah.
You use some tricks the blacksmith taught you to weaken the metal of the weapons. With a little work, they become useless for battle.
You have done well. Our work.
You again? Looking for more work, I gather. Very well. If you want to be useful, their leader is named Scarsnout. He's not too bright, and has a rash temper.
Alright, the reason why I'm like rushing through this is because last night I did a stream where I did this and I ended up dying. So my dungeon time ran out. I have to do all this over again. So that's what we're doing.
Gunnar.
Alright, let's go. Let me go back to the video.
Bad execution, and there's a lot of ways that I think they could start with this. One of them is in the blended grove. This is another thing that I'm not sure a lot of people know about, but if you get all the way up on your weaving in certain schools, you can actually unlock the ability to craft certain item card tier jewels from some of the trees. This isn't fully done yet. I'm assuming as there's more ranks, every tree will be able to give this. But they give such a dumb item card that I would argue it's barely an incentive to even go into that school to weave. The logic behind these is that they'll give you an item card for that school that the tree is from that's part of a fusion formula. So in the case of Extinction Bloodbat Jewel, it's a bloodbat. Now, I will say this, it's an lower path bloodbat, not a... Basically, it would be useless if it was a top path bloodbat, but basically the idea is you would pack max bloodbats, you would get an extra bloodbat as an item card, you would increase the odds of fusing this with whatever other spell to make your fusion spell. Right, in the case of this specific myth tree, it is Bleh, the Impaler. If y'all don't know, this spell you can make, it's a myth drain that actually turns weaknesses into traps. But you make it by combining Vampire with Bloodbat as a Death Wizard weaving into Myth. But the idea of that tier jewel is, oh, you need to pull that Bloodbat to fuse with a Vampire? Now you can put more in. The expense being, obviously, the 145 health that you don't get. In my opinion, those tier jewels should just give the fusion card. I think right now there's a big leap the casual players have to take in order to actually access fusion. But imagine instead of getting a elephant jewel so that you could actually fuse it with a skeletal dragon, what if these tier jewels just gave a pyre dragon? While yes, this could obviously have implications for really powerful spells like Pyre Dragon in PvP, worst case scenario, you PvP ban them and allow people that are casual to experience fusion. Another very, very unexplored idea, in my opinion, is the fact that a lot of these weaving things, especially in PvE, right, where all of this starts, you gotta start with PvE if you're gonna, like, you know, get a player to actually interact with this stuff. But a lot of this stuff just starts with people weaving into a school to get buffs. Or we're talking about something like maybe Drowned Blade. Maybe as a depth, I would weave into Storm because, wow, one, I could support Storm. Two, I could get access to a very powerful Death Blade on the way. If I'm really in a solo setting where I'm using Death and Storm, this is an extremely powerful buff. All a training
I'm just
point,
listening to
and
this
you
video
basically
again.
get
I
the
did
best
watch this
buff
last
in the
night,
game
but I
that's
wanted
played
to
for
look
both
at
of
it
the
again.
schools that are relevant in this scenario. But imagine if these came in the form of tier jewels. I don't see why they haven't done that. In my opinion, any learnable spell should be available as
Domain
a
expansion.
Maybe
Thunderdome.
fusions are a little too far in the case of some fusions, so you might have to explore whether it's allowed in PvP or not. But in PvE, it feels like a no-brainer. Buffs stack when you can train them, and you could also use an item card version of them. I don't see why they don't add that as an incentive across the board. You want everyone to be adopting weaving, in my opinion, and you also want to make it so that it's something that people really feel they're rewarded for doing. Right now, there's a few fusions that are somewhat relevant in PvP, a couple of trainable buffs that you can actually get pretty early in the weaving journey on some schools in PvE, and that's about it. I feel like for all the resources they invest into weaving, this is going to be something we constantly get updates to. Why don't we have tier jewels that give item cards that people actually weave for that are really good in PvE? Another thing that they do, right, outside of the weaving updates, it looks like every year almost, they're going back and revamping certain areas, like for example, the Aquila area, and they add a bunch of spells that are relevant to it. And this doesn't just have to be with that type of update. It could be with any world that has 7 spells, 1 for every school associated with it. You should be able to access tier jewels that come in a pre-enchanted form. That would give you a reason to give up HP for them. They barely explored this back when triangle jewels gave item cards. If y'all don't know, before this whole Wallaroo change, triangle jewels were the ones that gave, like, item cards. And once in a blue moon, you would see an item card that's unique enough where it does more damage per pip than a regular spell for that school. For example, a death can't do this much damage with a regular base 9-pip spell. This is almost like a pre-enchanted item card. But in PvE, I don't see why we don't get pre-enchanted item cards in the form of tier jewels. Why not for Darkmoor, give us a pre-enchanted item card that you could affix as a tier jewel for every school? For example, since I'm dead, why not give us a pre-enchanted mortality as something you could put on a tier jewel? That wouldn't break any part of the game. If anything, it would give you a real reason to actually go about affixing this. Right, the reason why this jewel feint thing is such a big deal is it saves you that very important deck space of packing a potent. You can essentially just do this and affix 1 extra card, so net, you're saving a card, but you're still stacking 2 feint. Imagine you could do that without enchants as well. That's a very, very unexplored thing that they just aren't doing with tier jewels. It kind of is the alternative to making item cards enchantable, which is something a lot of people want. Yes, you could do that, or you could just make item cards the enchanted version of those spells and make people want to actually go after them. The only other idea I have, in the spirit of giving a comprehensive amount of feedback about the tier jewel system, now that this is really something that people are going to be interacting with. We have a lot of pins on our gear, but I don't see why they can't add a tier jewel to regular gear. But I think tier jewels basically make it so you can add item cards to things, rings, wands, all that. Why not make it so you can customize your other gear, right? Like your hats, robes, and boots. I think they would have to make it so it doesn't affect health, because if you add too many tier jewels, you're always going to get those optimal Andes that just make health their only option. But I'm sure they could, like, you know, tweak the health cap so that that's really not necessary, or maybe even make it so that there's a limit on how many health-giving tier jewels you can give. That does force a little bit of choice, I guess. But all I'm trying to see is more customizability when it comes to item cards. if they were to do all of this, obviously, we would have to have way more options available to us in the current state of
Fire
things, right? The
Weaving or
Fate
Lava
Citron
Weaving?
changes, maybe about it. I'm sure what's probably going to happen if they don't take any feedback about fleshing out the system, people will watch this video if they don't know about it, or they'll read the patch notes and maybe they do know about it. They'll go to this guy, they'll go through all of these and realize that basically all of these are useless other than this now, and then that's it. That's all they're going to do. And it's just such a missed opportunity in my opinion. I really think they could do more with this feature. That is just my real honest feelings. I've been feeling this for a long time regarding the tier jewel system, and now that they're finally revisiting it after the years that it's been out, and now there's actual reasons to use it, there are two big takeaways. One, y'all should definitely use the Faint Citron if you're a PvEer, you want to optimize this new meta stuff that just dropped. And B, you should definitely also get feedback on what else y'all are trying to see. I hope the devs are listening. I think this is something that could greatly improve the diversity of item cards and the customizability of gear in the long run. I really hope they do this across a lot of levels, not just in Wallaroo and Dark. But I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts on everything we talked about the Blended Grove tier jewels, about the Darkmoor tier jewels, how y'all would like to see them flesh out tier jewels in general, why y'all might not be using them if you're the type of person not to use them. Let me know all of y'all's thoughts in the comments, y'all. I look forward to all of y'all's thoughts. Drop a like if you enjoyed, leave a sub if you're new. And as always, if somebody hasn't told you awesome today, they doing something wrong. Stay awesome. See y'all soon. And yeah. Spring Update 2026 for Wiz 101 is right around the corner, and y'all, it looks like Wiz is releasing teasers for upcoming spell changes school by school to be covered by a bunch of content creators over the next couple of weeks. Now, today's spell teasers were the upcoming Spring Update Storm spells, and what I thought I would do is, I linked the original video covering all the upcoming Storm spell changes in the description, and I also wanted to cover the highlights, what I think are the spells that are really going to change the meta, especially in PvE. Now, before we dive into the spell changes, what's really important to note is it looks like there's a pattern to the spell changes that are coming for Spring Update across the board for all the schools. Based off of the Storm teasers, it looks like the rank 1 through 6 spells for every school is going to be getting more options. And by more options, I mean that they're not going to be literally replacing any existing spells. We're just going to get a third spellement path. It's basically what they did with lore spells in the Darkmoor update, but I guess now they're doing it for rank 1 through 6 spells. Now we know what all the new rank 1 through 6 storm spells are going to look like, and some of them are pretty crazy. I actually wanted to start off with the rank 4 one. This is the new Kraken that people are going to be able to use on the storm. And why did I start with this? Because I think this is actually fairly meta changing. Well, let's break down the symbols. What this card is basically saying is it'll do some base damage, but it'll do even more if you have weaknesses on your opponent. Now, if this works like any other weakness gambit, it'll do more damage as you give up more weaknesses. So if you give up 1 weakness, this is looking like a 700-ish damage card. And if you give up 2 weaknesses, it's looking like this is a 4-pip spell that'll do above 900 damage. Now keep in mind, you can enchant this, and you're probably wondering, how do I set up those weaknesses without maybe giving up too many pips? And what's crazy is they already added a bunch of triple weaknesses that you can learn through the Niles tree, like the balance tree in the Krakos Fang. So now, as long as you're actually open-minded enough, you can put one of these on, debuff a school if it's appropriate. Like, let's say I do this on a death and I debuff a death spell. I could also use that myth and life weakness and enchant this new Kraken to do crazy amounts of extra damage. I think this is easily one of the best spells for both PvP and PvE that Wiz has ever added. It's basically like Turmoil Oni, but instead of using 9 pips and having to have 4 weaknesses, it's way better. Right, this spell, if y'all notice, it says 1080 damage or Gambit 4 weaknesses for a bunch of extra damage, while this new spell does 510 and, you know, as you Gambit weaknesses, you do extra damage. I think this Kraken's just a better version of Turmoil Oni because it's 4 pips. It seems to be able to use 1 or 2 weaknesses to do extra damage. Even if it can only use 2 weaknesses to do extra damage, this is a major new source of damage in PvE. I could totally see this being used in PvP, even without being able to enchant stuff in PvP. So already we're seeing major new sources of damage, literally meta-shattering for Storm, but that's not the only spell that's kind of nuts. This is a new Storm Shark. This is also, in my opinion, a highlight of the upcoming Storm changes. So what this card is basically saying is it'll do a little bit of damage, and if you have a heal on yourself, it'll give it up for 255 blades, and what I really like about these blades, as you notice by that chromatic symbol, they're school specific. If a death used this shark, it would get death blades. If a fire used this, they would get fire blades. So if you're dueling into Storm, this is also a good option. But the reason why I think this is actually so good is because right now, especially if you're not able to use enchants, right? There are challenge modes and all kinds of things that is still being fleshed out as a feature. I think more people are going to do it as it gets more rewarded. But basically, the meta for challenge mode, where enchants aren't available, is you get extra damage by giving up heals, right? The current only other option for Storm Shark gives up heals for damage. With this new Storm Shark teaser, we could see some really cool stuff where you put multiple heal overtimes on yourself, give up one of them for blades using this new Storm Shark, give up another one for tons of damage. You could be setting up ridiculously buffed hits, even without enchants, using heal overtimes. Definitely something worth considering. Even if you're dueling into Storm, a very, very cool highlight. Maybe not as good as Kraken. I feel like Kraken might be universally usable, but it's definitely not as. The other rank 1 through 6 spell that I think could be really cool is this, the new Triton. Now, this is yet another heal counter compared to the other bottom path Triton that we have, but it looks like this Triton does 740 damage and clears up to 2 heals on your opponent, and for each heal you clear, you get a 45% Pierce Blade. Now, what's worth noting is it's the exact same amount of damage as the current bottom path Triton, so as far as damage on a heal counter goes, it's the exact same. But in my opinion, a 45% damage blade versus a 45% Pierce Blade, in PvP, it's a no-brainer. The 45% Pierce Blade will be better. In PvE, the 45% damage blade will be better. If you're ever in a situation where you need to use actual heal counters to get stuff, now you have options for both. I think that's really cool. What this really shows is that as they go through all these spells and start adding more Spellman pets, you're going to get way more options, even at lower ranks, which is really cool to see. Now, as far as the spells we didn't talk about, ranks 1 through 6, Thundersnake, it basically is supposed to sacrifice an aura on yourself for a blade. Lightning Bats and Zilla are dot counters, but they're only 1 and 2 dot counters respectively, which I think are kind of underwhelming for whatever effect they do, which is why I don't think they're going to be meta changing, but I definitely think the big story for the rank 1 through 6 spells anyways for the upcoming Storm spell changes definitely is going to be Shark, Kraken, and Triton for me personally. Now, in addition to rank 1 through 6 spells changing, they're also adding a Weaving update this spring update. We're going to have a rank 5 Weaving. That's going to come with its own reward. Now, for the majority of people, the reason to weave is for buffs, right? I mean, you're trying to get better buffs. You're trying to like have a reason to get to something as crazy as rank 5 Weaving. And what's crazy is the big takeaway from the spells that got teased is that Storm is going to have access to a lot of new buffs, but probably so is any school that weaves into the schools that are getting an update. So basically, right, this is the new reward, I guess, for rank 5 Death Weaving as a Storm. It's a really, really cool blade that I think is going to be the best blade buff in the game. Now, in order to understand why I'm saying that, let's actually take a look at how blades work with weaving, just so that we can get an idea of what I'm talking about, right? Basically, if any school weaves into Storm as a rank 1 reward, they'll get a 45 Storm Blade. That also gives them a 45 blade for their school. But let's say that you are a Storm. You can't weave.
Hold on, bro. I gotta whoop his ass, bro. Hold on. Is he acting like I'm like a bitch or something? Hold on. I gotta do that to him. Hold on, I gotta get some water after this.
gonna lie. I sold the clip. I fucking sold the clip. Damn it, man. I fucking sold the clip. I couldn't do it. Nah, but this next bicycle is gonna hit me. Fuck, man.
How is the stream going tonight?
It's actually going pretty good. What's up, Michael?
I love how I said it.
It's nice to see you again, bro. I'm just seeing what's up with my deck right quick. After this battle, I'm about to eat though. I'm gonna eat right quick and then get right back in. Let me see. Is this okay? I think that's alright. No, just for good measure. No.
Very nice, sounds good.
Wait, no, that's too many llamas. Too many llamas. I need more life attack spells, bro. What's up with this? You act like stuff's sweet, man. No.
Also found out I was wrong, sounds like console is 3 updates behind, so my bad, lol.
Okay. Okay, I was kind of like, whoa, a year behind? That's kind of crazy. But yeah, it's all good, bro. 3 updates behind isn't bad, though. It's not bad. It's alright. But yeah, I remember I got killed by this guy last night. This nigga Olaf. This dude Olaf, bro.
Spring 2025 and
oh, I see, Michael. Dang. Yeah, let me see if I can kill him right now. Dang. It's alright. Dark Sprite does nothing. Come on now, monk.
But I'm excited for the changes, and he is the one that fooled you at the end of last stream, right?
Yes, he fooled me from last stream, bro. This dude Olaf. It's because I didn't configure my deck. It would have been like that last night if I didn't, you know. Okay, cloak shard. Cloak card.
You did.
You there? I heard some troubling news. Weapons destroyed, Boar's angry.
The hell,
Now
what you want to fight me
escaped
for?
prisoners. You're not with us. Brothers of the Red Claw, attack!
The hell you? This nigga is off some meth or something, bro. Oh my gosh. Now I gotta go to ICE. You didn't want me to go to ICE. You shouldn't have been death school. Not gonna lie to you. Being death school is the death of you, bro. That was the wrong choice. That was the wrong choice, my guy. Oh yeah, it's over for you. You should not have been. You should not have been a fire school gunner. I'll let you know. Let me get at least one healing spell in here. 450. Say goodnight. I'm sorry, Gunnar. I had to do this to you, bro. We got 1,200 health. Finally somebody with a little bit of health on them. Because I'm not gonna lie, I am a little bit, just a tad bit over leveled for Grizzleheim. But I've done Wizard City. Or hold on, let me do this right quick. I've done Wizard City. I've done Crocotopia, Mollybone. I've done Wushu. I came back to Grizzleheim. I did Wisteria as well. So I've done 6 worlds in all so far. And after Grizzleheim, after this, I'm going straight to Dragonspire, bro. After Dragonspire, I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, 6 worlds down, and I don't know how many to go. There's a lot of worlds, which is good. Like I'm happy that I'm actually getting my money's worth, you know. Let's get this out of here. Let's get this out of here. We don't need a healing spell right now. Let's try to get Bro out of here right here, you know. Right quick. Hey, Leprechaun, it's always nice to see you, man.
Normally I got through to Dragonspire before I start Grizzleheim, and then I do Wintertusk, then Celestia.
Ooh, I guess the reason why I'm doing it this way is because I don't know. This is my first time playing Wizard 101. It's like my first playthrough, and I'm just doing Dragonspire. I don't know why. I'm just like saving Dragonspire for last because I feel like it's like a finale of sorts. I don't know. But yeah, my roommate was talking to me right quick. He's not dead yet? Jeez. Alright, let me do this right quick. Let me get this on it. I was saving that for your boss, but it's whatever.
For a while Dragonspire was the finale. Now there is 5 arcs rolling.
I know, right? 5 arcs, which is really cool in my opinion. Like, I'm getting my money's worth in my opinion. I'm getting my money's worth. 5 arcs though. But yeah, first arc for the first arc in terms of, you know, that's what I'm still in right now. So I'm also doing Grizzleheim before Dragonspire because I'm gonna just pass. I'm also doing Grizzleheim before Dragonspire because I'm trying to like be just a tad bit over leveled so that I can get through Dragonspire a little more smoothly. If that makes sense. But yeah. I've done 6, I believe. Bro, where are my traps at? And come on, man. trying to kill him in one hit, and I'm seeing 0 traps. My gosh. Alright, we'll let it be. We'll let it be. It's because I accidentally picked my my other deck. Or my other class. Here we go, finally. Got 5 pips. What you gonna do? You could have did incredible damage and you chose to do fire bats. You could have killed me right there.
So I'm not sure if it's changed recently or not, but Winter Tusk gives massive XP. I have always started
really?
Celestia around level 60 and by the tin.
Cool. I mean, honestly, I don't really know about any of those worlds yet, but I've heard of them. You know, I don't think I need to cast a domain expansion. I don't think that's needed. Might kill him in one hit. Yeah. I'm probably gonna faint first. I mean, I'm probably gonna
Not
fizzle
sure if
first.
you can start Winter Tusk right after Grizzleheim or if it's locked by a level, but it can be difficult.
So after... Oh, I didn't. Thought I would fizzle. Okay, you said Winter Tusk could be locked after Grizzleheim or not. It depends. Basically, is what you're saying. I think. Okay. Can we see the king now? Because this is taking a long time. Go to Ivar. Ivar's right here. Oh, no, that's not Ivar.
I do not know who sent you, but you're not leaving here alive.
I think I will. I think I'll leave here alive. Alive and well, sir. And since you got 3 niggas on me, bet. I'm gonna pick my second death class. I mean, my second boss class. And this is configured with all of the defenses I need to destroy you. Let's take this off. Let's take that off. We'll keep that. Oops. Let's get this going, this going. Boom, boom. Oh yeah, it's over. Oh yeah, I forgot. I need to eat something. Okay, I'm about to eat right quick, and then I'll defeat these guys. Okay. I'm gonna be muted, and I'm gonna be eating for like, give me like 10 minutes, and I'll be right back.
Sounds good. Enjoy your food.
Okay, so I ended up putting my pizza back in the oven, and after this fight, I'll go get it and eat. But for the time being, yeah, we're gonna fight right quick. $1,400 health. That's what I like to see, brother. That's what I like to see.
Now, in order to understand why I'm saying that, let's actually take a look at how blades work with weaving, just so that we can get an idea of what I'm talking about, right? Basically, if any school weaves into Storm as a rank 1 reward, they'll get a 45 Storm blade. That also gives them a 45 blade for their school. But let's say that you are a Storm. You can't weave into Storm as a Storm, so your only other option is to go into rank 4 life weaving. And if you do that, you can get access to the spell called Flood Blade. But a Storm weaving into life is probably not going to be as good as a Storm weaving into death. Right, this blade is ridiculous because a Storm can learn it, A, so you can actually use this as a buff on a Storm, and death is, in my opinion, way more versatile as a dual school, especially in certain settings where drains are actually worth using. Right, you enchant one of these, and you have a 45 blade, and by the way, keep in mind, Storm can duel into death and get way more damage than the average. Right, I don't even have the best punishing pins. You're looking at 46 damage per pin at level 170 for Storm. We might see a really like functional meta, especially soloing and PvE, where a Storm can put a Storm Blade and a Death Blade at the same time, and also affix these pins. They can have a lot of Storm damage output, a lot of drain output as well. As long as you're using both of these blades, this is a great reason to do Death Weaving. Now, here's the thing. We're getting really high up on the ranks now. This is a rank 5 weaving spell. Definitely not easy to get. It took me ages to get to the point where I was rank 4 across the board. Rank 5 is like quite a bit. That being said, if you do it gradually, I think it is still worth it. The other weaving buff that was teased for upcoming spell changes anyways for Storm is the fire one. So this is a new fire trap that you can get. So it looks like fire is also going to be getting access to traps for weaving into it, like Myth. So though today was only Storm spells, I'm going to assume any school that weaves into fire should be able to get a fire trap that also gives them a trap for their own school. Very, very powerful trap. Ever since the trap update, I'd say 1 pip traps they give you extra aren't as good as just 0 pip traps that already give you quite a bit. So this new lightning trap, it's good, but only if you're really stacking with a regular storm trap, because if you use a regular storm trap and you also potent a storm trap, you're just getting pips instead of using them while doing the same amount of buff for your main school. But let's say that you're questing with a fire or something, it's actually literally the best move, and it's just a new option that exists. Pretty cool, especially if you're in a team setting, so definitely a good buff worth talking about. But definitely there are some major takeaways. One, it looks like they're revisiting earlier ranked spells to add new options. It seems to be very different than their approach before, where instead of adding a new path, they would just replace. Right, a lot of people have an issue with how they have to keep up with spell changes because they see lightning bats clear a dot for weaknesses one update, and then this update they could have changed that again, right? Instead, it looks like we're just getting more options. That is a very good change in approach, in my opinion, because instead of having to relearn, you just have to learn new things. I think that's a very different thing in the brain, and I think that's actually less overwhelming, even though there are more options, which is a weird thing to say. But more importantly than all of this, if every spell can do up to 3 things, we're looking at a game that's evolving into giving you a lot of options per spell. If y'all have not gotten involved in the Spellman system yet, it's probably a great time, because spells like Kraken, you're gonna want Spellmans for them. The other takeaway is, as they level up the ranks for weaving, we're gonna get more and more.
Alright, I'm gonna take my pizza out of the oven.
I'm taking a dinner break RQ, 10 minutes.
All right, we back. All right, let's go. Let's go.
Prepare yourself for madness because Wizard 101 Spring Update is arriving soon, and today, Wiz hooked me up with exclusive teasers to share with y'all. Today, we're going to be going over every new myth spell in the upcoming spring update. So there's a bunch of new options for ranks 1 through 6 myth spells that are available now, and also new spells that you can get through weaving. Now keep in mind, every rank 1 through 6 spell we're going to be talking about, they're added on to what is currently in Live Realm. They're not going to replace any existing spells. Now I thought I would start with Troll and then do Bloodbath, but this is the new Troll. Now why am I starting with this? Because ladies and gentlemen, this is a historic moment. This is the first time they've updated a spell for Myth in the past few years that has added to Myth's minion identity rather than taken away from it. That is right. Myth is a minion school, but they really haven't done a lot with that in the past. They've really, I guess, been reevaluating minions in general. Now, they couldn't finalize the minions for this teaser, so we don't know exactly what the minion part of the spell does, but in case y'all are wondering what the spell does, it hits just like Troll normally does, but if you have a damage overtime on your opponent, it'll give it up for a minion. Now, the fact that they're tying minion identity to, like, you know, this spell's utility, what it means is there's going to be a lot of new minion changes upcoming. I don't think it's safe to assume that any minion as it is in Live Realm right now is going to do what it does in the upcoming spring test realm. But some pretty early feedback that hopefully they keep in mind. I think putting on a damage overtime and also giving it up before it expires is actually asking quite a bit. What I really hope is that this new Troll, obviously I'm glad that it does a little bit of damage, that's great, but I hope that minion is super good, even if it's a 2-pip spell. Now let's look at what they're doing.
That's crazy.
To Bloodbath. Basically,
that's
this
good.
is gonna be
I'm loving all the updates, all the updates, bro.
Pierce Trap. So that's what this card is saying. It'll do 75 the opponent. Now, what's even crazier,
I'm not gonna lie, I'm surprised you're still here.
You notice the symbol on it? It's school specific because Myth is a school of traps. If a death uses a spell with the shield on, they'll make a death pierce trap. If a fire does it, they'll get a fire pierce trap. Compared to regular Bloodbath right now, it's basically, instead of giving up a shield for a damage school-specific trap, you're getting a pierce school-specific trap. In my opinion, the damage one is better for PvE, but the pierce one is definitely better for PvP. That being said, there's all kinds of scenarios, especially considering when set shields are a thing, where this new Bloodbath might actually be your best response to a set shield. Right, imagine you're a Storm, you have a weakness on yourself, and your opponent has a volcanic shield. If you have a shield on yourself, you can break the weakness, give up that extra shield, and get a 40% Storm Pierce trap. That volcanic shield is basically useless now. Could be cool. Definitely a little bit more situational than, you know, other utilities that are out there. Definitely not a bad option for, like, a 1-pip spell like Bloodbath. Moving on to the new Cyclops. This is a new Cyclops. It looks like it's yet another dot gambit, meaning you have to have a damage overtime on your opponent to get the best bang for your buck with this spell. But this spell, basically what it's saying is, it'll hit for 250 damage, and it'll essentially give up a dot on your opponent and give you 270 shields, universal shields, essentially towers, basically in return. Now here's the deal. Compared to the version of Cyclops that exists right now, you basically are choosing either offense out of a dot or defense out of a dot. Cyclops right now, the bottom path, it gives up a dot and it gets you 265 traps based on your school. And in my opinion...
Damn, much love, bro. That's crazy. For real? Yeah, man. It's definitely pretty cool so far. Wow, so there aren't many like console players out there, I see. Okay, let's see what we're doing. Kinda wanna save the pips a little bit. You know what I need? I need a little bit of health.
did a nice playthrough to the end of Dragon's Cure but hasn't updated the playlist for a few weeks but does a lot of Wizard 101 videos as.
Ooh. He was going in. Oh, they were going in. Oh yeah, let me just do it one time on them. Yeah, that player must have been going in. Dang, I hear Ice is they're like the tanks of Wizard 101, the tank school. Ain't no way they're giving me help. Let's go. Appreciate you.
I believe he has done over 1,000 videos on Wizard 101 topics lol but took a break for a while. When he came back he tried out some console.
Oh, okay, I see. Let's bring this out. Dang, I just summoned a Drake. Well, no, I consider this a dragon. I don't care. There are Drakes and there are dragons. Drakes are like the smaller beta versions of dragons. And then I guess the dragons are the omega versions of, like, they're the omegas of the breed or whatever. I don't know. Or the alpha, whatever it's called. Okay, let's see. Dang, I didn't get a feint yet? Dang. Where's my feint?
Traps. That's ridiculous amounts of offense. Are 270 shields enough defense to be a valid alternative? Maybe. I guess it might depend on your playstyle. But yes, definitely cool. In my opinion, though, if I were to choose between giving up a dot for shields or a minion, depending on what the minion does, I might really be a fan of Troll. But moving on to the new Minotaur. This is a very, very weird spell, y'all. And I actually think that there's more to this than meets the eye. What this spell does quite a bit. It clears up to 4 shields on your opponent and then turns each one that it clears into a tower on yourself. 50% universal defense. Then it does the double hit. So why is that such a big deal? Why would you ever use Minotaur? It's because you want that initial hit to do some kind of shield break. And this one could actually be good in PvE because of the way that it deals with shield. If y'all don't know, right, you would only pack this to deal with shields, right? But if you enchant this, so this is something that's very relevant in PvE. What's unfortunate is some of the enchant goes on the initial hit, some of the enchant goes on the second hit. And if you're doing it into a shield, the part of the enchant that goes on the initial hit is very bad, right? In an ideal world, when you enchant Minotaur, you'd want it to be a 50 hit plus an enchanted second hit. That's just not what Minnow does right now. But this new spell, it clears shields before hitting. So if you enchant it, this could actually be Mitt's new best hit that's enchantable in PvE when your opponent has a shield up. It's either this or pierce through the shield, but keep in mind, every shield that you counter also gives you a shield of defense. Definitely not a bad mechanic whatsoever. I think the damage is still kind of low, right? Even with an enchant, you're barely breaking 700 damage for 5 pips, but at least because you're getting rid of shields with the utility, the part of the enchant that goes on that initial 55 hit, it's not going to get wasted. Could be a really, really cool mechanic. Definitely has use in PvE, especially compared to any version of Minnow that exists right now. And finally, this is a new rank 6 Stone Colossus option that's going to be added in the spring update. That is right, y'all. yet another minion.
Dang, I meant
now
to
this
discard.
one could be very crazy, but this is still a this is in live realm if you use the bottom path anyways. It does a 545 damage hit at max tier anyways through weaknesses, and it can clear up to 5 weaknesses, and for each weakness it clears, it creates a bomb dot that gets more and more powerful, that detonates in 4 rounds. Basically, right, you're still getting damage through the weakness with this new version of Stone Colossus, but I think what
Oh,
the
he's
spell is
stunned.
doing,
Let's go, let's
more
go, let's
weaknesses
go.
you
He's
clear,
stunned.
the more powerful the minion you create.
This is the one
out of it.
boss, one
This
of the
is
bosses that I can stun.
Clearly better.
Bosses
than
usually
PvE,
aren't
in my
able to be
opinion,
stunned.
right?
I don't know.
Because I'm gonna be honest,
For some
if
reason.
you actually get like double, triple, quadruple weakness, that's a long day in PvE. Now you have an easy option, and I do believe that the more weaknesses you clear, the better the minion's gonna get. We could be seeing tier 1 through a tier 5 minion, depending on how many weaknesses you clear out of this. The possibilities on this spell, very, very endless. Keep in mind in PvE, obviously you can enchant it. At max value, this is an 845 damage hit that ignores weaknesses and now turns those weaknesses into a minion. I think it's way more intuitive than whatever bomb dot nonsense this is. A lot of people don't even like bomb dots. Honestly, fair. But if you're looking for a nice utility that hits through weaknesses, this new Stone Colossus might be the one. Now let's talk weaving teasers. And these are some of the coolest spells I have ever seen. And guess what, y'all? As a reward for making it this far into the video, I even have a spell animation straight from Wiz to share with y'all. So basically, right, they're adding a weaving rank across the board, so you can get to rank 5 weaving for every single
gimmick, and like most mobs and bosses are immune.
Okay. Yeah, most definitely. I hear stuns is like stunning is very finicky in this game.
Did you meet with success? A foul raven was disguised as Ivar Anderson? If he was a raven, then where is the real Ivar Anderson? You should go and give this news to Bjorn Ironclaws. He was a friend of Ivar's and will soon, thanks to you, we will be rid of the Red Claw.
Young Outlander, did you learn what troubled the village of Andersholt?
Bjorn Ironclaws looks troubled. As
Well,
you
when they
explained
finally
that
buffed
Ivar
Frost
Anderson
Giant, people
was
were
replaced
kinda
by a
annoyed it
raven
kept the
trickster
stun.
who
That was their
betrayed the folk of
justification for
Anders
not
Holt.
making it stronger. Damage.
Okay, I see.
You tell a dark tale. Thank you for your help in this great matter.
That was their
Your
justification
fame
for
grows
it.
with every deed you accomplish. Soon you will be counted among Grizzleheim's mightiest here in the top.
Come
Now
on,
go
man. I usually pay attention to the story, but it's just like, man. kind of want to get to the big leagues. I kind of want to get to the big stuff, you know.
Bjorn Ironclaws sent you? I have heard your name before. The folk of Grizzleheim sing your praises.
Really?
Let us see if they speak fairly. Scouts sent by the wolves are harrying our forces daily. Even now, they ready themselves for another attack. If you wish to test your courage in your battles, go and defeat a Moonstrider scout in battle. It will slow them down enough for us to ready our own attack.
Wolfric Fosbane. Jeez, this man looks insane. Bro, he could crush a bear. Could crush a grizzly.
Since you are over level 35, you should be able to get a new death spell in a quest or two from here.
Well, that's good. These guys look skinny. Oh yeah, I was supposed to go back and see get some supplies. What am I doing?
I believe it's Dark Tribute. It's a dual universal blade, but I think unless it's updated yet, it should take like 250 health from you.
It's a dark tribute. A dark tribute, okay.
Eric Wildrune in Northgard will have the quest.
Okay, I think that's all I need. My gosh, that's all of my money. Okay, let's see where we're going. Alright, ain't nothing to it but to do it.
And the rank 5 weaving reward for Myth going into Storm is a new spell that is ridiculous. It's a Storm Minotaur. Now this spell, it does an explosive amount of storm damage, so you're gonna want to run storm damage as a Myth that's doing this. You get this spell by combining Minotaur with Zilla, but it does 115 initial damage, and then 1000 damage on the secondary hit, and it's a storm spell, so it can actually break storm. Y'all, Myth's support role is gonna look very different now. We already saw an update add Grendel's Amends. It's a lore spell that does a new burst heal, so it's not like you had anything that you needed in the realm of burst heal. But now this new fusion, if you have a couple of shields on, or even if you don't, just run a little bit of outgoing. As long as you combine Bloodbath and Regenerate, you're looking at a ridiculous heal. Definitely something that I think will be used across the board. A very, very good reason to weave into life on a Myth. I think Myth has good options weaving into Storm,
777.
depth for the blades now, and life because of the fusion. Genuinely a ridiculous update for Myth, both in the ranks and the weaving. Hopefully, y'all, this was an in-depth breakdown of all the new Myth spells. Let me know in the comments what y'all's favorite Myth spell is. Hopefully, I did these spells justice. I'm very hyped. Honestly, I don't even care about the other schools. I'm just hyped because of Myth right now. But there'll be more spells.
Yeah, he's almost dead already.
I'll be covering some of the highlights, but make sure they... In the teaser visual that Wiz tweeted out, this is only day 2 of
they both
teasers. There's
fizzled.
a lot of days coming.
They
a lot
probably
of
got
schools
scared, that's
remaining.
why.
But I look forward to reading y'all's thoughts on the Myth spells in the comments, y'all. I will be reading all of them, trying to respond to a bunch of them. Turn on noties so you don't miss any of the coverage of all things.
His
Spring
homie about to
Update
die
2026.
in the next
I think
round.
this is looking like a much bigger spring update than last year, off of these teasers alone. Let me know y'all's thoughts, y'all. Drop a like if you
Say goodnight.
And as always, if somebody hasn't told you awesome today, they doing something wrong. Stay awesome. See y'all soon. And yeah. Y'all, the upcoming Wiz 101 Spring update is already looking ridiculous, and Wiz posted yet another teaser today. The craziest thing about today's teaser is, though, there's way more to it than meets the eye. This is what they posted today. A very mysterious image of a pterodactyl Aztecosaur, something that we've never seen before, either an NPC or an enemy, and it would be hard to speculate on what this is a teaser for, if not for the caption. They captioned this: blue barracudas, purple parrots, silver snakes, oh my. And the reason why I say this teaser, there's way more to it than meets the eye, because this is a direct reference to a really old game show that was run on, I want to say, Nickelodeon, called Legends of the Hidden Temple. Now, how is this a reference? First off, y'all might notice the host of the show has the exact same outfit as the pterodactyl thing in today's teaser. But also, this is a game show where one of 6 teams competes to find a treasure at the end of the temple, basically. And what would you know? 3...
The wolves will be slow to stick their snouts near this camp again.
That's good news.
We have need of stones for our catapults, but the land around here is bare of them.
Y'all can't go get stones, bro. Really?
We gathered the ones we could, but in the night, the canyon rangers came and took all our boulders. Will you go and take boulders from the canyon rangers?
Yeah, I got you, man.
You have gathered enough of them. Take them to the catapults. It is heavy and difficult work, but necessary.
Well, yeah, I just messed that up, bro. I am about physical labor, bro. I got you. I got you, bro. All right, but let's go.
On the show, their names are the purple parrots, the silver snakes, and the blue barracuda. Now, combine that with the fact that this is now our second Azteca-themed teaser for the spring update.
They're already in it.
Update, the biggest thing that it features is a gauntlet. I think there's a big takeaway here, and that is that we're getting an Azteca-themed gauntlet.
Are you serious? They're already done?
Why would they do 2 teasers?
Damn it, bro. I could have just went in there.
And it's probably going to be something game show-ish based, where you have to choose one of 6 teams to essentially get to the end and get your gear as a reward. Now, the fact that there are probably going to be 6 options to run through this new gauntlet, it really probably will increase the playability of it, but it begs the question, right? Let's say you choose one team or another. What's going to change in that gauntlet? Is it going to be one of those things where we polymorph into these actual things and it affects our deck? Is it going to be more of a stat profile thing? And I think that's where the real question is, because let's say that it is just a stat profile thing. That could be very cool. But let's say that this is one of those polymorph instances. That could, I don't know, could be a red flag for some people. Now, it's probably worth clarifying what I mean by like a polymorph fight, but they actually did this with last year's gauntlet as well. And if you do weaving, you've probably done this where you're basically forced to polymorph into something and you don't really have control over your deck or your stats. And in my opinion, these are pretty controversial because they come with some strengths. They definitely also come with some major drawbacks, but the reason these types of polymorph fights are so crazy, right? You literally can't do anything other than what the game lets you to do. It kind of removes your freedom as a player to use various stats. It does come with the strength, of course, that every polymorph probably comes with its own set of combos that you could do with various spells. Now, here's the deal. It does look like they're taking the feedback of people being more annoyed at polymorph fights into account. This little tidbit was actually shared with every content creator that has teasers. They actually wanted to make sure that all the viewers knew about this, but this spring update will also involve like an overview of all these polymorph fights that we've had to do for weaving in general. And they're apparently trying to make the polymorph fights, one, have less enemies in group settings, but also just be less tedious. Feel like you're more rewarded for pulling off various combos. So let's say this is a teaser for 3 of the 6 options that you can basically polymorph into to run through this new gauntlet to get gear. Maybe this could actually be a better done version of last year, where a lot of people felt like the Liches and Legends gauntlet, yes, depending on what you morphed into, yes, it's cool because it's replayable, but some of these forms, they were just very hard to do damage with, and some people get frustrated at not being able to do damage and just wish they were the wizard. Now, what's very worth noting is when the Liches and Legends gauntlet came out, right, we're talking spring update 2025, Wiz was in a very weird spot because the Selenopolis update that had literally just predated it had not raised the level cap. So this level 170 robe that you would get from the Liches and Legends gauntlet, it was literally the exact same stats as the one that you would get for basically doing the gauntlet from the year before. I want to say that was called the Forbidden Library Gauntlet, the one with like the plot armor, that type of gear set. And the only difference was, instead of giving an item card that was somewhat not useful, this one gave a brace, which is why a lot of people ended up playing through the Liches and Legends gauntlet. But let's say the idea of polymorphing into something is not something you actually like that much. It's not like you had to do the Liches and Legends gauntlet. If you did the other gauntlet the year before, you already had the stats that you wanted from this template. This time, however, things are obviously quite a bit different, right? Darkmoor actually raised the level cap, and we're gonna get a level 180 version of this crazy gear template that's been dropping through the gauntlet system for years now. And what's very, very worth noting
Hey,
is
Leprechaun,
this
it's always
gear
nice
that
to
people
see
are
you,
gonna
man.
want. This is a side-by-side comparison of the level 170 template that should be dropping in the upcoming gauntlet. And it's a side-by-side, obviously, to the 180 gear that's available in Darkmoor. What y'all might notice is, like, something like the robe, it literally has the exact same trade-off as the main storyline Darkmoor set. And that trade-off is that it doesn't give shadow rating. However, what y'all might notice is, even though they have the same trade-off, the stats are a little bit different. The level 170 robe is actually somewhat comparable, if not better, than the Darkmoor level 180 robe. Right, the Liches and Legends Gauntlet robe, it gives 30 damage instead of 29, 19 resist instead of 18, a little bit more pip chance, and the trade-off seems to be that you get a little bit of less pierce and accuracy, which for a lot of people,
Oh, he summoned Trident.
yes, maybe in PvP,
This
you're
one's
gonna be
like
thinking about that
900
pierce
to
and
1,000
accuracy, but in
damage.
PvE, it's actually a pretty no-brainer, right? This robe is literally better at 170. And if there's a 180 upgrade, the way this gauntlet is structured is going to matter quite a bit. Now, if this teaser is anything to go by, there's probably going to be one of 6 ways to play through it. The real question is, depending on what you choose, are you going to polymorph into something like last year's gauntlet, or is it going to be something else altogether? That's definitely the big question. I do think Wiz does have a problem with the spring update in general, where they are trying to make sure that people have a reason to play through a gauntlet more than once. The way they've gone about it in the past, I feel like there's a lot left to be asked. Right, the way a lot of these work is either you could open a pack that should be dropping pretty much when this Azteca-themed gauntlet drops, and you can get geared that way by literally spending crowns and getting lucky. But the other way that they kind of incentivize you if you don't want to spend money to get a lot of this new gear is through the badge system. And the way that it works, right, the more you defeat something in these gauntlets, the more you make progress on a badge. And when you get to a certain point, you can start crafting things using the reagents that drop in that gauntlet. So when that level 170 template for what we're talking about basically dropped, you would basically have to do the Forbidden Library gauntlet multiple times, I want to say 10, and then you would be able to get it. I'm pretty sure they've changed this number around before. The Nightmare Gauntlet, I'm pretty sure you have to do it 25 times in order to be able to craft something from the dungeon. I'm pretty sure the Liches and Legends Gauntlet, something I only ever did in test room until I opened up packs, was equally crazy. Like, it was a lot of clears in order to be able to craft things directly from the gauntlet. It's either that, or you just have to get lucky enough to get it dropped. And I guess because they're trying to make you, if you're not opening packs anyways, they're trying to make you do this 10 to 25 times. I guess they're trying to do something where it's not the exact same experience every one of those times. So I think they have been trying to go after some replayability. Solution to that last year was to add a bunch of polymorphs. So you basically can morph into like an elephant or this or that. And basically you have different spells. You don't really have stats. But it feels like you have a different experience every time you play through. This teaser, to me, it feels like they're doing the same thing. In my opinion, I don't think they should do exactly what they did last time, even though obviously with the badge system and the way that it works, replayability is probably a good thing. What I do hope is that they take some feedback on the way things are right now. I, for one, I'm pretty sure at least one of these wizards, I've done this a few times. I've actually interacted with this enough to get the badge on a couple of these and actually craft stuff straight from the gauntlet. And the issue isn't sometimes even that you need the badge. It then becomes a problem of getting enough reagents. It would be nice if it felt like after you get the badge, it's very, very easy to maybe craft something for one wizard. It almost feels like crafting a full template of gear for one wizard.
We have a saying. Best to know the tree's height before you start to climb.
It's a nice saying, okay.
You do not look like one of us, so you will not alert them if you go to their gate and provoke them. Go and inspect the wolf's gate and test the skill of the defenders.
Let's go.
It takes way more than the runs it takes to get the badge to craft it alone, if that makes sense. Definitely something that I hope they keep in mind, but we'll see. We'll see what all of this means very, very soon. But I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts on today's teaser. Do y'all think it's going to be a game show Azteca themed gauntlet where you could be on one of 6 teams, and what do y'all think the implications of choosing one team or another will be? Do you guys think it'll be like the polymorph stuff in the past, or do y'all think they're gonna add to the replayability of this gauntlet in another way? I look forward to reading all of y'all's thoughts on this, but because this is gonna be a big template, I think this gauntlet, no matter what, is going to be a big deal, especially considering the level 180s now. Definitely leave feedback so that they're listening, because this one could be a make or break for spring update, y'all. Let me know y'all's thoughts. Drop a like if you enjoyed. Leave a sub review, and as always, if somebody hasn't told you awesome today, stay doing something wrong, stay awesome, see y'all soon, and yeah.
Let's go. Alright, bet. Let's go. Thunderbats. Okay. Alright, bet. Let's see what Matthew will do. Matthew, Michael. Oh, we have another Michael here. Michael Strike. Matthew, Michael, and Angel. Oh, shit.
I believe I was the first Michael here, lol.
First Michael. I'm guessing if this is Asgard, they most likely have a Valhalla. What?
You inspect the main gate of the north fortress. It is sturdy and well fortified. It will easily withstand any assault.
It is ill news you bring. But we are better. We must change our plans for the assault. That will take some time, so you can best aid us by gathering word about the camp. One of the wolves has joined our number. He does not believe the lies they say about us.
Is that the dude that's behind me right now?
Go and speak to him.
Oh, shoot, it is. Wolfric. This dude looks insane, bro. He will destroy somebody.
What manner of warrior are you?
I did not expect you to sound like that, bro.
Do not think I am a traitor. I am loyal to my people, but they are being lied to. So, I am unwelcome there. I do not believe the bearers are allies of the Red Claw. A raven named Moonin Mistweaver came to us with a captive bear, Thane Ivar Anderson. Moonin claimed that Ivar was leading the Red Claw against the wolves, and offered the Thane to us as a prisoner. It is foolish to trust a raven. So, I did not believe Moonin.
And you were wise to do so.
This war between wolves and bears is wrong, and I want to end it. Many warriors are wounded without good cause.
I respect Wolfric, bro. I really respect him, bro. I respect him more.
If you wish to help bring peace to our people, go and speak to our healer, Ingolf Moonheart. He will tell you what can be done.
I definitely liked the way the NPCs in Grizzleheim looked like the details were insanely viewed.
Engulf. Okay, you look like a normal bandit. Just a normal bandit on his way to rob somebody.
The spirits of sky and night speak to me. They say that the one who will bring peace to this land is neither wolf nor bear.
It might just be me.
I wish only to help the wounded. I have run out of healing supplies, so I can heal no others until I need wound wraps and aloe leaves. Most Moonstrider howlers carry suitable wrappings, and aloe leaves grow wild around here.
Where? There's nothing here, bro. There's nothing. Oh, okay. The other person must have took it. I already beat those guys, bro. Again. Alright, bro. If I'm being honest, after this, I might just end stream because I don't know. I do gotta go into work tomorrow, so yeah.
The glow.
Hey, Leprechaun, it's always nice to see you, man. That's a little faint. Really? They're gonna give me those? Thunder Weavern? Like, what is this? Lightning Weavern? Storm Weavern?
Is it late for you as well?
For me it's 12 a.m. Yeah, it's 12:12. Dang, they both casted it. I'm about to make me a little some munchies. I'm about to make me some more munchies, and I'm about to go smack to sleep, bro. Take me a shower in the morning, then head on to work. Hold on. I've seen Groot way too many times being casted in this stream today, so I don't feel like seeing him again. What? That's all good. Because we got Stone Colossus now. Bruh. Oh, never mind. This is kind of crazy. That man is insane. They're like Colossus from X-Men. If he would have took steroids. Colossus on steroids.
Those will be of great use. Wait for a short while.
For what?
Minutes to make some healing wraps out of the wrappings and leaves.
If you would help me further, go and use these healing wraps on the wounded wolves in the village. The wounded wolves, and your aid will...
That wrap is a balm to this poor wounded wolf.
Voice actor did outstanding work right there.
I thank you for easing my pain.
I thank you for easing my pain. Dang, I just avoided that meteor by a hair.
You seem a wizard, but your hands are those of a healer.
You seem a wizard, but your hands are those of a healer. I try my best, you know. I don't know. You seem a wizard. Let me get this right quick. Okay.
done much to help our cause, but there is much to do before there will be peace.
But there is much to do before there will be peace. Nah, I can't do him.
I know the strength of the wolf army, and I know how best to hinder them. Wolves look to their strongest.
If you are like school, you technically are healer folks.
Piglack Shadowstorm
Yeah.
and Otto Winterwatch are the greatest.
Honestly,
warriors. If you defeat them, the other
after I
wolves
beat
will be
all of like
uncertain, and their courage will break.
all of Wizard 101 on this save right here, I'm gonna do life school next. I have death right now, life school next, and maybe, well, I don't really want to think that far ahead, but yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna end the stream. I think that's
Life is Good Myth is also a good school and they are planning to update minions.
I know, right? I heard minions are like not as utilized as they should be, you know. Dang, who broke this tree off? Was it y'all? Oh, here. Okay. Well, Michael, once again, thank you for coming through on the stream, bro. It was nice seeing you again. Hope you have a great rest of your night, bro.
And with monstrology, for whatever reason, Myth can summon 3 minions and have them at same time.
Oh, that's a big one. That's what I wanted. I've been wanting that. So, if I have a myth school, that means that I can summon. I can have more than one summon at once. So that would be okay.
No worries. Hope you have a great night as well.
That's cool, man. Yeah, that's definitely gonna be my third playthrough is myth, because I've been wanting more than one summon at once for a while. I didn't know that myth had that. It makes sense. But yeah, man. Much love. Hope you have a good one. Blessed night. And yeah, see you in the next one.